Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I'm excited to have you here as we kick off the Zero to Hunter series by Sagar Majumdar Tech. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic, sessions in cybersecurity. We'll explore what sessions are, how they function, and why understanding them is vital for both attackers and defenders in the cybersecurity landscape. Over the next few slides, we'll uncover the intricacies of sessions, especially in the context of penetration testing. So, let's get started and deepen our understanding of this crucial aspect of cybersecurity. So, what exactly is a session? Well, a session is essentially a semi-permanent, interactive exchange of information between devices or between a user and the system. It helps maintain the state across multiple HTTP requests, which is really important because HTTP by itself is stateless. Now, to keep track of each user's session, the system assigns a unique identifier called a session ID. This is a random string that's generated when a user logs in or first accesses the system. Think of it as a digital fingerprint that helps the system recognize you on subsequent requests. And where is all this information stored? On the server side, in what we call the session store. This is a storage area that maps each session ID to specific user data, like your username, your permissions, or other relevant details. Connecting this to the overall theme, understanding sessions is crucial because it enables personalized, continuous interactions in web applications, making the experience seamless and secure. This concept is foundational as we move forward into how systems manage user interactions effectively. Now, let's take a look at the different types of sessions that are commonly encountered in various applications. First up are web sessions, which are the most common in web applications. These sessions are managed using cookies, such as PHP-SESSID or JSESSIONID, that help the server recognize and maintain a user's state as they navigate through the website. Next, we have application-level sessions. These are typically used in desktop or mobile applications, where maintaining user state is crucial for providing a seamless experience. These sessions keep track of user activity within the app itself. Then there are network or transport sessions. These involve TCP sessions and SSL or TLS sessions, which are essential for secure communication between the client and server. They ensure that data transmitted over the network is protected from eavesdropping or tampering. Finally, we have authentication sessions. These are created after a user successfully logs in, often involving tokens like JWTs or session IDs. These tokens help verify the user's identity and grant access to protected resources. Connecting all these points to our overall theme, understanding these different session types is key to grasping how applications manage user interactions securely and efficiently across various platforms. Now, let's talk about why sessions are so critical in penetration testing. First, high privilege access. Sessions essentially represent authenticated and authorized users who have elevated permissions. This means that once you're in a session with high privileges, you can explore and test areas that are normally off-limits. Next, there's the concept of bypassing authentication. Instead of going through the lengthy process of brute-forcing credentials, stealing a session allows you to bypass the entire authentication step. This makes it a much more efficient way to gain access. Finally, we have persistence and escalation. Valid sessions can give you long-term access to a system, which is crucial during testing. Plus, with a valid session, there's the potential to escalate privileges further, moving from a lower level to an administrator or root level, for example. All of these points highlight how vital session management is in the overall security landscape. If an attacker can hijack or manipulate sessions, they can gain significant control, which is why understanding and testing session security is such a key part of penetration testing. Now, let's take a closer look at some common session vulnerabilities that can pose serious security risks. First up is insecure generation. This happens when session IDs are generated using predictable methods, like sequential numbers or timestamps, especially if the randomness is weak. It makes it easier for attackers to guess or predict session IDs, which is a big problem. Next, we have session fixation. In this scenario, an attacker sets a user's session ID before they even log in. Once the user authenticates, the attacker can hijack that session because they already know the session ID in use. It's a sneaky way to gain unauthorized access. Then there's session hijacking, which involves stealing cookies through various means such as man-in-the-middle attacks, packet sniffing, or exploiting cross-site scripting vulnerabilities. Once the attacker has the cookie, they can impersonate the user and access their session. Finally, missing expiration is when sessions never time out or lack proper logout mechanisms. This means sessions can stay active indefinitely, increasing the window of opportunity for misuse if someone else gains access to the session. Understanding these vulnerabilities is crucial because they highlight the importance of implementing strong, secure session management practices to protect users and maintain trust in our systems. Now, let's delve into some of the common session exploitation techniques that attackers use. First up is session hijacking. This involves capturing session cookies, which are often transmitted over unencrypted traffic. Tools like Wireshark, Burp Suite, or Better CAP can be used to intercept these cookies. Once an attacker has the cookie, they can impersonate the legitimate user and take over their session. Next is session fixation. Here, the attacker forces the victim to use a known session ID, often by embedding it in a link or a form. When the user logs in, the attacker already knows the session ID and can access the account afterward. It's a subtle but effective way to hijack sessions. Then we have brute force IDs. This technique involves guessing valid session tokens, especially when they're generated improperly or predictably. Attackers systematically try different tokens until they find one that grants access, highlighting the importance of secure token generation. Finally, replay attacks. In this scenario, attackers capture valid session tokens and then reuse them at a later time to impersonate the user. This underscores the need for mechanisms like token expiration and nonce values to prevent such reuse. All these techniques demonstrate how crucial it is to understand session management and implement strong defenses to protect user sessions. And that's what ties into our overall theme, understanding vulnerabilities to better defend against them. All right, let's take a closer look at some essential pen testing tools that every security professional should be familiar with. First up is Burp Suite. This tool is incredibly powerful for intercepting and manipulating session cookies, which helps us test for common issues like session fixation and CSRF vulnerabilities. It's like having a middleman that allows us to see and control what's happening in the communication between the browser and the server. Next, we have OWASP Zap. This tool automates the scanning process for session vulnerabilities, making it easier to identify weak points without manually probing every aspect. It's especially useful for quick assessments and ongoing security testing. Moving on, Wireshark is a network-level tool that captures and analyzes unencrypted traffic. It's invaluable for sniffing sessions on the network, allowing us to see exactly what data is being transmitted over the wire, which can reveal session information and other sensitive data. Then there's BEF, the Browser Exploitation Framework. This tool hooks browsers via cross-site scripting, or XSS, enabling us to control and steal sessions from compromised browsers. It's a powerful way to demonstrate the potential impact of XSS vulnerabilities. Lastly, Better CAP is a man-in-the-middle attack tool that intercepts session data by positioning itself between the client and server. This allows us to analyze and manipulate session information in real time, highlighting the importance of securing session communications. All of these tools fit into our broader theme of understanding how sessions can be tested and potentially exploited, emphasizing the need for strong security measures to protect session integrity. Let's talk about secure session management, which is vital for protecting user data and maintaining trust. First, cryptographically secure IDs are essential. They should be generated with high entropy, ideally using 128-bit random values. This makes them extremely difficult for attackers to guess or reproduce. Next, regenerating session IDs after login is a key step. It prevents session fixation attacks, where an attacker tries to hijack a session by fixing its ID beforehand. Then there are secure cookie attributes. We need to set cookies with the secure flag so they're only transmitted over HTTPS, the HTTP-only flag to prevent client-side scripts from accessing them, and the same site attribute to restrict cross-site request forgery attacks. Moving on, implementing session timeouts is a good practice. An idle timeout of around 15 to 30 minutes and an absolute timeout of about 2 hours help limit the window of opportunity for hijacking sessions. Lastly, always use HTTPS everywhere. This encrypts the data in transit, preventing session sniffing, especially on untrusted networks. By applying these strategies, we significantly enhance the security of user sessions, which is fundamental to our overall security posture. So, moving on to some real-world session exploits, let's start with Firesheep from 2010. This was a Firefox extension that demonstrated how easy it could be to hijack sessions on public Wi-Fi networks. It worked by sniffing unencrypted cookies from popular websites, which many sites hadn't yet secured properly at the time. This showed how vulnerable unprotected sessions could be and really brought attention to the importance of encrypting session data. Next, we have the issue with Facebook URL sessions. In those early days, session tokens were often included directly in the URL. That meant anyone watching the network traffic could see these tokens and potentially hijack someone's account. It underscored the risks of passing sensitive session information openly and was a catalyst for improving security practices around session management. And finally, let's talk about JWT vulnerabilities. JSON web tokens are widely used in APIs for authentication, but a significant problem arose when some APIs accepted tokens with an ALG value of none, meaning the tokens were unsigned. Attackers could exploit this flaw to forge admin sessions, gaining unauthorized access. This highlights how critical it is to validate tokens properly and avoid trusting anything that isn't securely signed. Overall, these examples show how real-world exploits often exploit common misconfigurations or overlooked vulnerabilities, reinforcing the importance of robust security measures at every level. All right, as we wrap up, it's crucial to emphasize the importance of legal and ethical considerations in penetration testing. First, always obtain proper authorization before you start testing session vulnerabilities. This ensures you're working within legal boundaries and respecting the organization's policies. Next, it's vital to stay within the scope defined by your agreement. That means not exploiting sessions beyond what's been specified or accessing real user data, which could cause unintended harm or privacy violations. Lastly, responsible reporting is key. When you find issues, report them carefully and help organizations understand and fix these vulnerabilities. Remember, ethical hacking isn't just about finding problems, it's about doing so responsibly and supporting the security of the systems you test. This wraps up our series, and I hope you now see how these principles tie everything together in the journey from zero to hunter.